Dear students, today we are going to learn a new concept called multi-threaded programming using Python. You all know that Python is very easy to learn, easy to understand and an efficient programming language. Python has been used in various domains like web development, game development, data analytics, image processing, machine learning, network programming, etc. One such application is multi-threaded programming. Now let us see how Python could be implemented for multi-threaded programming. Let us get into the video now. Whenever you write a program, the program is being executed after compilation or interpretation. That is, a program is in the form of machine language. That executable instructions is called process. Each process is having its own life cycle, and every process is being associated with a data structure called process control block, where the process control block is having a process ID, necessary data space, memory and other necessary informations. Normally we call this process as a heavyweight process, and each process can create a child process which can be called as either as a fork or spawn. Each process has its own memory and it cannot be shared unless otherwise if you want to have inter-process communication. Now you have a process, and within the process you have a lot of code, and if you are able to do some kind of independent code in the process, or you can call it as a miniature block of codes which could be executed independently with each other. Such independent block of code within a process is called a thread. It is a subset of process. One interesting thing is all the sub-process are sharing the same space or same context. Like process, a thread is having a life cycle and it's having a beginning, an execution sequence and a conclusion. And also we have a pointer to keep track of the status of the thread. A thread could be interpreted at any stage, that is called preemption, or you can put the thread as hold, which we call as a sleep state or zombie state. One interesting observation is from a single process you can create number of subset from the process, and each sub process is created a separate thread and all the threads are parallelly run on the same space. That is called multi-threading. Let us see an example. You can see in the code we have two blocks of code. One is called loop 0 and another one is called loop 1. Loop 0 takes a sleep statement of 4 seconds and loop 1 having a sleep state of 2 seconds. Now both the blocks have been executed in sequence. First loop 0 is executed and second loop 1 is executed. So for this code, it takes almost 7 seconds for completing the entire code. It is an example for a single thread, a sequential form of execution. Python provides several modules for multi-threaded programming, and we can have three modules. One is called thread module, which is used to create thread, to manage thread and also to synchronize the threads. An improved version is threading module, a higher level module, and it have better synchronization methods. Third one we call it as a queue module, which can be used for queue data structure, and especially it is being used for inter-process communication. Now let us see another example for multi-threading. Here also we are using two loops. One is called loop 0 and another one is called loop 1. As it is one 4 seconds, another one is 2 seconds. Now these two block of codes are run parallel manner. One is having separate thread, another one is having separate thread, and at the result it takes only 4 seconds to complete the entire process. And interestingly, the loop 1 is being executed first than loop 0, because loop 1 is having only 2 seconds and has been executed, and then loop 0 has been executed. This is a classic example for multi-threading, because we are running parallel of all the threads, and in a way you are making the program to be executed in a faster manner, and also there is a efficient memory space allocation. In the thread module, we are having these type of functions. One is called start underscore new underscore thread, which is used for spawning a new thread, and for a locking purpose we are using allocate lock, allocate underscore lock, and to exit the thread we are using exit function, and similarly to acquire a lock object we are using acquire function. To verify whether it is being locked or not, we are using locked method, and once the process is completed we are using release method. Now this locking mechanism is being used for synchronization purpose. The figure shows two threads, and when first thread requests a space and it is making request and acquiring lock, now the space is being locked. When the space is being locked, the other thread could not access, and only after the first thread releases its lock, then only the second thread can enter and acquire the space, and then after completion the second thread is releasing the lock. So this acquire phase and locking phase is being taken sequential manner, and thereby the data space is being protected, and we cannot change the data while one thread is being in the execution. That is one important observation for synchronization. In the threading module, we are having the following objects. One is called thread objects for creating a thread, and lock objects for locking the thread. Once you lock the object, after a particular number of time, if you want to relock the object, we are using re-entrant lock, which is called rlock, and we can create a condition, until the condition is satisfied the thread could be put on hold. Similarly, an event also being registered, and only after event is completed the thread is being released. And we can also use a semaphore, which is used as a counter, and also we are using a timer for specifying the time period for the thread execution. The third example is used for threading module. Here we are using two functions. One is add1 and another one is add2. In add1 we are using a global variable g, and it is being incremented 1. In add2 module we are using global variable g, and it is being incremented 2. But at the result we are getting the value of g is 3, and even though these two modules have been executed parallelly, the value of g is not being affected. That is an interesting observation from multi-threading. So we have seen three examples. One is from thread module, another one is from threading module, and one from sequential thread module. Now let us see advantages of multi-threading. Since the threads are being executed independently, it doesn't block the other threads from execution. The system resources are being used efficiently because the threads are being parallelly executed. On multiprocessor machines, we have enhanced performance. And servers and guys are using multithreading exclusively. Now let us see the disadvantages of multithreading. Whenever the number of threads increases, complexity increases. And naturally we have to synchronize the shared resources, and sometimes it is difficult to debug as the result is sometimes unpredictable. And since deadlock is possible, which leads to starvation, and some threads behave badly. And constructing and synchronization of threads is CPU or memory intensive. Let us see the applications of multithreading. Multithreading has been used in web browsers when we access web pages simultaneously, and also it is used in web servers where the individual users' requests are handling with independent threads. The multithreading has been widely used in game development where the individual objects like car, human, birds are being implemented as separate thread. And also you can create a separate thread for background and foreground objects. When you use text editor, a lot of features like editor, spell checking, formatting of text and saving the text are being done concurrently by multiple threads. Similarly, threading also used in integrated development environment where multiple programs are being executed at the same time. So these are all the applications of multi-threading, and in this video you have seen what is meant by multi-threading and how it could be implemented in Python, and what are all the advantages and disadvantages of the multi-threading, and finally you can see what are all the applications of multi-threading. Thank you all.